I wasn't one of the best in class, but my teacher called me one day and said, I'm not a wizard, I'm not a magician, I don't have superpowers, but I know that one day you're gonna make it in life. I know that in the future you're going to be very, very big. So I don't know if that stuck with me as a struggling student. It's not really like I was struggling, it's just weaponized incompetency sometimes, or maybe the fact that some factors are to be considered in an upbringing of a child. Some children learn fast or whatever, but I did well in some schools and in some kind of environments I didn't really do well. But that's not the point, because most times people most often shit people most often leverage on the fact that your academics are, not really good. And I had teachers that didn't really like me. My math teacher really hated me because I wasn't doing good, and biology, I hated biology. So aside that, I it didn't really stuck with me, but I would never forget that, because there was also a time I had a friendship with an adult woman, and my mom was against it somehow, because I don't know, she just was against it. And this lady told me one time that she checked my destiny or something like that. I don't know. Then she said I was going to be a very big person, blah blah blah, this is that. There's been all kinds of situations like this, there's been situations like this, and sometimes they tell you, people often see in you what you don't see in yourself. So honestly, when someone tells you you're going to make it in life or whatever, I don't know, if you're not from a wealthy background, or if you don't have money, if you're not a nepo baby, you wouldn't really sit on your ass thinking, oh, after all, they said I was going to make it in life, so yes, let me just. That was not what I did. Of course, that was not what I did. I didn't even think about those things. I didn't take them serious. Honestly, I didn't take them serious or whatever. It's just now that, later in life, that I started thinking about some of these things that I know I've tried so much. Sometimes I try to encourage myself. I know I've really tried in life, so I should really take a break. Or if I just sit back, after all, people always say, when you stop looking for love, it comes knocking. When you stop looking for something, that's when it comes. So no matter what I try in my life, things don't really work out or whatever. So at this point, maybe if I sit back, something good will happen. And as a woman in a patriarchal world, in a patriarchal society, I've been through a lot, also wise, surviving and things like that. And I also saw a video last night talking about how, yeah, we shouldn't encourage women to want men's money. That's like still supporting the patriarchy, and you saying you're eating the patriarchy and whatever. I saw another video before then. I was really going to talk about it, because whenever a woman is being abused, everybody in the world has advice for the woman. Why didn't you leave? Why didn't you do this? Why did you go to his house? Why were you at that place? Nobody ever says, why won't men just stop, abusing women? Why won't men just stop perpetuating evil deeds? And the world is low-key afraid of men. The world is, and even if you're not afraid of men, it's just the fact that they always know that they're going to get away with these things, and it's their world after all. They can do whatever they want, with no care in the world. And my point is that everybody always have an advice for a woman, even though if it's just like telling someone, be a bigger person, be a bigger person. It's just another way to encourage the villain. The villain is there being the smaller person, doing whatever the fuck they want to do, hurting everybody, and then you're telling the victim, be a big person, be a big person, be the bigger person. The fuck no, I'm not gonna be the bigger person, because I'm the one who should be consoled in this situation. I'm the one who should be pampered in this situation, not the other way around. And these are just ways to let men continue to be who they are, because after all, if I hurt someone as a man, whoever it is I hurt is going to take the downfall for it. Either you speak up or not, as a woman, you're going to take the downfall for it. And that's why most women don't even come out to speak up. So advising women like this with little to no job opportunities, speaking from experience, I was a teenager working in the office, and my boss wanted my virginity by all means, and I lost my job in the end, and also some other toxic work experience. This is not like, okay, saying this is an excuse not to work, or you're gonna work, I guess, as a woman or whatever, but the point is that it's not encouraging. The society, the world we find ourselves in, everything is just so hard. Nothing ever comes very, very easy. Even growing up, some of us, our siblings or our brothers, or some people, it could be their father that is even their first abuser or whatever. It's not a nice environment to grow up in. It's not, a girl can definitely grow up and say, okay, I don't even want to do any fucking thing with my life. I mean, personally, I've tried everything and I feel like, what's the point of it? At the point, I just said, okay, since all men do is want me for my body, then I might as well just commercialize on it, you know. Even girls that work in the office or that go to like everyday jobs do these things. So when people get on the internet and talk like this, feeling like, oh, they've said something, I mean, what you said is good. In fact, I liked the video and I reposted it. Some I don't really agree entirely with it, because the internalized misogyny in them is just coming out. They just want to blame women for all the situations. Oh, why can't you go and work? Or why can't you go and do this? Or why can't you go and do that? You're relying on a man. Some people don't justify themselves in situations like that because you have a thriving career. Some of you are even YouTube influencers or whatever. You do YouTube, like you work from home, and somehow you've just been able to make it. But we all know that in reality, it is not everybody that struggles that makes it in life. We know that quite all right, because if it is that way, so many people today would be richer than the so-called wealthy people. So many hardworking people today would be in bigger positions. We all know that that is not how it works. So before we speak in so much judgmental ways, before we talk like we are the life coach, I mean, people always say, why are you even a life coach? Because this is all our first time on earth, like all of us, aside it's reincarnation or whatever, like this is your first time on earth. What do you mean you're a life coach? So a lot of people feel, because maybe, okay, I'm also struggling, and yes, we all struggle, but we all adapt to situations in different manners. We all, you know, we are all different. That's the point. So, you know, when people just hear about women that, you know, okay, let's put that aside. When you say woman sleeps her way to the top, the meaning of this is that men uphold, like they hold on to opportunities, like you're trying to get a job or you're trying to get to a position, or you're supposed to be given a promotion at work and your boss is asking you to sleep with him first. We've seen scenarios of things like this. And my point is that before all this, we are fighting a lot at the time. It's just like when there was NSAS protests in Nigeria, and like a lot of people died. And since that year, 2020, it's been 6 years, and it's almost like the country has even gotten worse. Like nothing has ever happened. This is an example of the kind of fights that we are fighting. When people say, oh, patriarchy hurts men, so just maybe it's just, I don't know, it's just really like the more we fight, the more these people rebel, because they just want to take everything by force. They don't want us to have anything in this life. If you work, there's a problem. If you don't work, there is a problem. In fact, they've managed to sexualize and demonize all parts of that female gender's job. Like if you're an estate agent, they look for a way to say you're a prostitute. If you're a car dealer, they look for a way to call you a prostitute. There's nothing a woman can do in this life that they've not found a way to demonize. And this is actually very, very bad, because this just goes back down to that you just hate the fact that women exist. So there's a lot of advice for women, but very little advice for men. There's a lot of what to do, what to not do out there for a woman. Carry pepper spray, carry this, do this, protect yourself, but nothing, zero. And I'm here to say, until all these are being fixed, until all this are being put in place properly, I'm sorry, nothing would ever be. There will definitely be people who pay for sex. There will definitely be men who do other things. And as it is on one side, it is definitely on the other side. Because of course, if there's no demand for it, there's no gonna be market for it. And that aside too, there's nothing that's gonna be done if you keep clearing the cobwebs and you're not killing the spider that keeps coming back to put in more cobwebs. Nothing is gonna be done if these men are not called to order. If there's nothing is gonna be done. We're just gonna keep fighting and fighting. We've been fighting for years. a lot of feminists have lost their lives in the course of all this. And honestly, I don't know if the world is just meant to be this way, but boy moms, even women that enable these men, are just like, they're making the whole situation worse. And no matter what you want to say, whatever situation a lady finds herself in life, survival definitely always comes first. Some people are literally trafficked. They don't even want to do what's, you know, what you're accusing them of doing or whatever. So life is just not fair. And honestly, I'm not trying to like say, okay, this is exactly what's gonna work, and but there are definitely so many, but it's just very easy. Honestly, it's just very easy to advise women because all the faults, all the blames always goes back to women. Also talking about how, because if you go for the money, there's a way they're going to treat you, blah blah blah. I feel like I've been on both sides. I've been on the side where I didn't really worry about money. Then at the point where I feel like I could monetize the whole thing, I still got treated badly, honestly. And the fact that, okay, I pay your bills, I give you a lot of money, gave him a lot of boost. So I can really understand what she's saying, that even if you're going for the money, you need to have your money as well. But some people have also made up their mind not to even deal with men at all. And I feel like I'm getting to that point. Like, all I just want right now is peace of mind and to be comfortable in life.